We often talk of climate change as some amorphous threat backed up by theoretical models and predictions, of abstracts and concepts that shape an uncertain future. But that is not the experience of some on this planet. Meet the animal that is living the reality of climate change and is fighting for its life: the polar bear. These animals are at the front line of climate change, and their fate will have a ripple effect across the Arctic and around the world. Polar bears only evolved in the last 150,000 years, yet they are among the most highly adapted species on Earth. At home in the frigid wasteland of the Arctic, polar bears are designed for survival. They're closely related to brown bears, but optimized for harsher environments. They're the largest terrestrial carnivores. They can swim long distances in freezing water, and they can smell prey up to half a mile away. Their powerful physique puts them at the top of the food chain. Polar bears stand up to 10 feet tall on their hind legs, and males can weigh up to 1,000 pounds. They have 2 coats of fur, black skin, and compact ears and tails to retain heat. They have legs and paws specially adapted for long-distance swimming. Their powerful jaws, hooked claws, and narrow neck and head make them killing machines. Their diet consists mainly of seals and whales, although they have been known to intentionally hunt humans. Polar bears are also very intelligent animals. Despite their size, they'll often use stealth and camouflage when hunting. They're so smart that males will often spar with each other in order to hone their skills. And yet, as powerful and specially adapted as these animals are, something is killing them: climate change. According to the American Museum of Natural History, climate change refers to the long-term changes in global temperatures and other characteristics of the atmosphere. Temperatures are rising higher and faster than at any point in the Earth's history, and unlike past cycles of warming and cooling, this one is caused by human activity. Greenhouse gases, naturally occurring in the atmosphere, regulate Earth's temperature and make the planet livable. One of the most common and volatile of these gases is carbon dioxide. Carbon, once stored underground, is released into the atmosphere when we burn fossil fuels. There, it combines with oxygen to form carbon dioxide. CO2 levels are higher now than at any time in the last 14 million years. With a warming planet, the sea ice that polar bears need to survive begins to freeze 1 day later each year. At the current rate, the Arctic could be without ice by 2050, leaving polar bears in a dire situation. Defenders of Wildlife noted that, of 80 polar bear cubs monitored between 2004 and 2006, only 2 survived. The number of polar bears in the southern Beaufort Sea population has been cut in half, leaving as few as 900 bears. The plight of the polar bear only worsened when all 1.6 million acres of Alaska's coastal plains were opened for commercial oil drilling. The petroleum business has been responsible for some of the worst disasters in the world. The 2 largest oil spills in history were the Exxon Valdez in 1989 and the Deepwater Horizon in 2010. Together, they account for 217 million gallons of oil lost in the ocean. According to Greenpeace, less than 8% of this oil was ever recovered. Oil spills have massive repercussions along the food chain for anything that relies on the sea. All of these imminent threats to polar bears are caused by harmful and intentional human activity. The effects of climate change are taking shape in the Arctic far faster than anywhere else on Earth. What is happening there is a forerunner to what will become of us in time. As the apex predator of the North, the polar bear is a keystone species. A keystone species is an organism on which the balance of the ecosystem depends. If polar bears were to disappear, the ecosystem would change drastically. Extinction is not a singular event. It unfolds over time and causes collateral damage. If polar bears lose access to their prey because of melting sea ice, they will be forced to hunt on land. That puts animals like the Arctic fox in peril of being hunted to extinction. Animals lower down on the food chain may resort to feeding on the Arctic's limited vegetation. Natural herbivores will starve because their food sources will have been consumed by carnivores. If polar bears are unable to hunt from sea ice, seal populations will spike and overhunt Arctic fish, shellfish, and mollusks. The seals will be eating the standard diet of the walrus, and both will eventually starve. Scavenger birds, who were formerly reliant on seal carcasses left behind by polar bears, will also lose access to their food source. When a keystone species is removed from its ecosystem, the results are far-reaching. In fact, the collapse of the Arctic food web would only be the beginning. A similar sequence of events would play out on a global scale. Life on Earth is made up of interdependent ecosystems. The thing that connects these ecosystems are the oceans. Warmer waters in the Arctic interfere with the migration of sea life, disrupt the cooling effect on global weather patterns, and cause an infusion of fresh water that decreases the density and salinity of seawater. Polar bears serve as an early warning sign for the catastrophic effects of climate change. The health of all the world's ecosystems hangs in the balance. But it's not too late to stop this, even in the North. Polar bears can be saved, and we can avoid the worst effects of climate change. We are at a turning point. It will take all of us working together, but we can save polar bears and our planet. Even though it may seem like one person can't make a difference, there's plenty you can do. You can make changes to your lifestyle by reusing and recycling products. This keeps trees in the ground and the waterways clean. You can let your elected representatives know that climate change and protection of wildlife are important issues to you. Here's the phone number for Congress. Reference our website for the phone number of your state legislature. You can vote for people who believe in climate change and promise to take steps against it. You can talk about the issue with friends and family, comment on proposals to use public land, or donate to conservation efforts. Every act you take makes a difference, and anything you do helps. If you want more information on what you can do, go to the link you see on screen. The clock is ticking, but time hasn't run out just yet. Let's kick climate change in the ass.
Turai Nicolo Apingai, Turai Nicolo Colungai, Cavutine, Yucatago, Nagame, Easy Calangi, Easy Calagotia, Maripo.